Hey guys, here for another update. Was down for the count last week with COVID, but I'm picking back up here. So yesterday, the day before, I was working on getting these T&M Fab frame stiffeners installed. Went pretty smoothly. Had some issues welding in some areas, but not in others. Got the coil buckets cut out. Today, I'm working on getting the shock tower tacked in at least. I set my axle center line here. You can see I measured 22 and a quarter inches from the edge here. Set my center line. Where the shock tower mounts from here to here, it's roughly 8.5 inches. So on each side of the center line, I have marked 4.25 inches. That's where the edge of the shock tower is going to be. I'm going to cut up and across here. The only problem is you can see in here the motor mount plate is right there, so we're gonna have to figure something out with that. But yeah, I'll give an update when I'm at that point. So I'm at the point where I got the coil buckets cut out enough to get the shock tower in there. It's just hanging in there right now. Had to take the engine mount off. It's kind of going to sit in here like this. I'm going to need to clearance out this area. I don't want to cut any more of the frame away because that's where it's welded. So I'll notch the shock tower around that little piece so it sits down onto the frame rail in the back there, and that gap is gone. I'm also going to need to cut more of this. As you can see, once the shock is in there, and it's going to be angled outward still, so it's going to need more clearancing. As far as the master cylinder goes, it's pretty tight. I don't know how I'm going to go about that, if I'm going to upgrade it or not. I would like to, but just don't know what I can get away with there. We'll have to see. And once the shock tower goes down another 1/2 inch, it'll have a little bit more room since the shock tower is tapered, but it's still pretty tight, so we'll see. I'll update again. Thanks, guys. Another update. I got the shock tower notched around it, both sides. Show you the clearance on the brake booster. It's got maybe 3/16 of an inch, closer than I'd like, but shock tower's in a good spot. It'll be inside the hood, and I have plenty of good welding on the frame, the unibody frame. I'll be able to weld down here on the stiffeners nicely. This gap closes, I just have to push on it a little bit. Yeah, it's looking good. Wanted to do another update. I got the steering box and headers and sector shaft hooked back up, and you can tell it's really tight in here. The headers on the engine mount are within 1/8 inch. The header to the sector shaft is within less than 1/8 inch, 16th, I guess. I had to clearance the shock tower there for the sector shaft. You can see in here. I will fill that back in, though. I'm not going to leave it a big hole like that. Otherwise, the side's looking pretty good, but it'll work out. I actually moved the shock tower forward maybe another 1/8 of an inch, so I have a little bit more clearance here over by the master cylinder. I still don't know how that's going to work out, though, because the studs to get the cylinder off are longer than the distance I have here, so that'll be interesting. Yep. Thanks, guys.